Thank you for tuning in. This video will go over basically how to benefit, or I think how to benefit from using HSIs. Because if you have a look at the DEX screener, you might see larger orders. Now the larger orders can move markets. We have lower liquidity. Maybe these smaller sells and smaller buys are limit orders being triggered. That would just be the smart thing to do. You know, maybe you break down a $100,000 amount of US dollar into smaller amounts and systematically place limit orders on matcher XYZ. That would allow for the price not to be dumped quite as hard. The downside to that is you would use more ETH. Now, moving on from that, imagine a instance where I'll break it down. Say you have HEX. Say you buy HEX and you want to stake it. You decide to use a HSI. You buy the HEX for say $1, you get 10 of them. You mint it. The HEX is then locked up in the HSI. And there's videos on how to do that. You can even move it around to other wallets, etc. It serves the time. At the end, you then unwrap it. And what are you left with? You're left with the HEX, the principal. And now you've got extra HEX because HEX produces more HEX. In this instance, I strongly believe, I could be wrong, that it would be treated as a capital gain should you sell it. Because you didn't stake it in HEX, you turned it into an NFT. The NFT then did its thing, and then you unwrap the NFT at the end of the time. A whole new concept for NFTs. NFTs that actually go up in value. How do they go up in value? At the end, when you unwrap it, remembering you're not selling it in this example, if you unwrap it, collect all the HEX, you have capital gains to pay, right? You might think, shit, I need to sell this. If you were to sell this on the market, maybe on a limit order, you know, you might, the price might creep up. If it was a larger amount, however, there would be an option in my analysis. You could actually create a HSI, then sell that HSI. There would need to be a more mature market in the HSI market though. What do I mean by that? If you have a look at the hexmarket.com, for example, you can see here it breaks down the principal, interest, total, the mintable HEDRON and borrowable HEDRON. If you were to total that figure, that would be the value of this particular HSI. Now, the argument against that could be, how come then Maxi token is priced higher? Because it performs a similar function, but it doesn't actually break down what the interest, mintable, and borrowable is. And also that has the longer pays better, bigger pays better bonuses incorporated into it. My argument is, because that is paired with HEX, as the price of HEX goes up and down, so too does Maxi. Where the premium is coming from, I would say, is probably due to the buyer and sellers. So if someone puts a large buy in and no one is selling because they're holding to the end, it would keep that premium, vice versa. Now, if, for example, there was a strong, mature hexmarket.com or OpenSea, and you could see the only reason I chose hexmarket.com was because OpenSea, I couldn't quite see the figures as clearly as this. But imagine you had could be a message board of some sort, or you could have stakes broken down into like yearly, 2 yearly, 3 yearly, 4, you know, different ranges, monthly, weekly, maybe not daily. You could have daily though, but it would be a bit hard to see the purpose in that. What I'm saying is, you now have your HEX. You would then wrap it, and if there was a mature market and you were able to sell for the value of the HEX on the day, so say in that example I just mentioned, you paid $1, you got 10 HEX, served your time, $1 came out plus 40 cents of interest yield because you got more tokens. You have to then, you know, not legal advice, you'd have to pay tax on that, assuming, depending on your jurisdiction, that is. From that point, if you were to wrap those tokens in a HSI and then be able to sell it on a market that has lots of buyers and lots of sellers, you could effectively not sell any HEX, restake it, and the buyer would be buying the HSI. So at no point would you actually have to sell any HEX. Now, you could say, well, it's very similar to putting in limit orders. Yes, it is. This is just another quick analysis I've noticed. I guess I'll break down quickly also the example where if you were to buy HEX, mint it, then sell it, it would be basically the amount you bought for would be like a cost base. Then the amount you sold for would be like a capital gain because it's a NFT. The opposite is true with a sell. Say you buy the NFT, it's wrapped. The amount you paid for it is your cost base. You then unwrap it. You are then left with a transfer from the wrapped NFT or the NFT to then you get the physical tokens. If it was the same example and it was worth $1.40 at the end of the stake, say you paid $1.40 for it because you knew on the day how much it was going to be worth, you would then be left holding it, and you would then be able to calculate as needed. That too would probably be a capital gains event as opposed to income. Maybe change it. Say you bought it for $1.30, and then you unwrapped it, it was worth $1.40. There'll be a small gain, but you wouldn't. In that case, I strongly argue that you wouldn't be paying the interest because when you have your stake, when the NFT is unwrapped, you then mint your new HEX tokens. And even though the calculation may say, because I've actually done this myself, this is all theory analysis, it may say that do you want a good accounting it or do you want to mint it? If you mint it, the calculation will show as the interest earned. Because you didn't use that system in that way and you put it into the NFT, again, my argument is that would be a capital gain. So the reason I'm covering this sort of stuff is because I can see a market for this in the future. And I thought also because with the upcoming ICOSA, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but my understanding is it'll be beneficial to the Richard Heart ecosphere. Again, decreased HEX sell pressure, decreased HEDRON sell pressure, increased HEX staking incentive, increased HEDRON burning incentive. So you might see this market sort of evolve. Because think about the alternative. The alternative is you have a large stake ending and then you basically dump all the HEX onto the market. And if you do it in a large chunk in a market order, especially you will see large red cells and the price going down. And now that's not what you probably want. And no Hexkin wants that, unless of course you have some sort of massive tax bill and you want to see some losses. There is an argument for that. But surely there's other ways you could go about it. But then again, you could arguably do that, buy back more cheaper, but that's another topic really. I'll wrap this one up because that's all I have to say about that. Again, not legal advice by any means, just something I've noticed as a HEX coin in the system. It may benefit you, it may not. If it didn't make sense, just go back and listen to it, take some notes, and maybe draw a little flow chart. What else? Before I go, remember you should probably free claim your Pulse Dogecoin, because you never know if free money might help out one day. There's 35 days left because you see things like this taking place. DeFi cross chain horizon bridge hacked for 100 milli. 100 milli. It's going to be on the market potentially. It's going to get dumped. Going to dump the asset. Going to crush user sentiment and the market sentiment in times of already when the fear factor is quite high in this space. Yeah, if you're not a Hexkin, that is, or a Pulsekin. That is about it, and hopefully that made sense because I actually hadn't looked at it myself. Having looked at it, I thought that is a very interesting play. It does make sense to me, and I thought that I would share that with the community because that might be something you hadn't thought of before. I certainly haven't heard of it before, but then this is like, I haven't looked at HEDRON all that much, to be brutally honest. All right, signing out.